Hi friends, today we will discuss the topic Hazrat Zulkarnain, as mysterious king in Quran, Dhul-Qarnayn and the wall of Yajuj Majuj explained. Hazrat Zulkarnain, A.S., often referred to in Islamic literature as Dhul-Qarnayn, meaning, the one with two horns, is a revered figure whose story is prominently featured in the Quran in Surah Al-Kahf, chapter 18, verses 83 to 101. The story of Hazrat Zulkarnain holds immense significance in Islamic eschatology, spirituality, leadership principles, and moral ethics. Though the Quran does not specify his exact historical identity, scholars have long debated over his real-life counterpart. Some suggest that he may have been Alexander the Great, while others propose a figure like Cyrus the Great. However, the majority of Muslim scholars dismiss the Alexander theory due to his polytheistic background, which contradicts the Qur'anic depiction of Zulkarnain as a righteous, monotheistic ruler. Regardless of his exact identity, his portrayal in the Quran is that of a just king who had been granted power and means by Allah to travel across the world, uphold justice, and suppress evil. The narrative of Hazrat Zulkarnain is introduced in the Quran as a response to questions posed by the Jews of Medina to test Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, regarding his prophethood. They asked about the soul, the story of the people of the cave, and a great traveler who reached the ends of the earth. Allah revealed the story of Zulkarnain to establish the truth of the Prophet's message and to provide a powerful moral lesson. The Quran emphasizes that Zulkarnain was a man endowed with power, authority, and guidance by Allah. He is described as traveling to the far west, east, and the region between two mountains, signifying his vast dominion. In every region he visited, he demonstrated justice, humility, and faith in Allah. This is an essential point because Zulkarnain did not let his immense power corrupt him. Instead, he used it to establish righteousness and protect the oppressed. In his first journey to the west, he encountered a people who lived where the sun sets, and Allah allowed him to choose between punishing them or treating him kindly. He chose to punish the unjust while forgiving those who did good. This demonstrates his deep moral compass and balance between justice and mercy. On his journey to the east, he found a people who had no protection from the sun, possibly a metaphor for tribes living in primitive or harsh conditions. Again, he dealt with them fairly, suggesting that his rule was not just for advanced civilizations but for all humanity regardless of their development level. The most significant part of his story comes during his journey between two mountains, where he encountered a people who were constantly being harassed by the tribes of Yajuj and Majuj, Gog and Magog. These tribes were known for their corruption and destruction. The people pleaded with Zulkarnain to build a barrier to protect them. They offered him tribute, but he declined, stating that what Allah had given him was better. However, he agreed to help them and instructed him to bring iron. He built a massive wall between the two mountains and then poured molten copper over it, creating a formidable barrier that the tribes could neither scale nor dig through. This wall effectively closed the portal through which Yajuj and Majuj could enter the world. This event has deep eschatological implications in Islam. It is believed that this wall still exists and that Yajuj and Majuj will eventually break free near the end of times as one of the major signs preceding the Day of Judgment. At that time, their release will cause immense destruction and chaos. This aspect of the story ties Hazrat Zulkarnain directly to Islamic beliefs about the end times, making his role not only historically and morally significant but also eschatologically crucial. The barrier symbolizes the limits of human capability and the divine will of Allah in controlling the unfolding of cosmic events. It also illustrates the importance of taking action against evil and oppression, even when the threat seems overwhelming. Beyond the physical construction of the wall, Zulkarnain's interaction with the oppressed people also sheds light on his leadership style. He empowered the people, making them partners in the task rather than subjects. This shows his belief in collective effort and the value of human dignity. He used their materials, labor, and involvement, symbolizing community participation in governance and protection. Zulkarnain's statement, "This is a mercy from my Lord. But when the promise of my Lord comes, he will level it to the ground," reveals his deep spiritual insight and understanding that all things are transient and subject to Allah's decree. The importance of Hazrat Zulkarnain to Islam goes beyond the narrative of his journeys. He embodies the ideal characteristics of a Muslim leader: just, humble, God-conscious, powerful but not arrogant, and someone who uses their strength to uplift the weak and curb injustice. His story provides a blueprint for governance rooted in taqwa, God consciousness, fairness, and accountability. Unlike many rulers who exploit power for personal gain, Zulkarnain viewed his authority as a trust from Allah, to be used for the welfare of humanity. Furthermore, his rejection of the people's offer of wealth in exchange for building the wall demonstrates his detachment from materialism and corruption. In a world often plagued by leaders who seek personal enrichment, Zulkarnain's example is one of integrity and service. His gratitude to Allah and acknowledgement of divine assistance in his successes highlight the spiritual dimension of leadership in Islam. A true leader in Islam must recognize their dependence on Allah and remain humble in the face of their achievements. From a theological perspective, Hazrat Zulkarnain's story serves to affirm the concept of divine guidance and the idea that Allah empowers certain individuals for specific missions. He is not portrayed as a prophet, but as a righteous servant and a just king who acted under divine guidance. His missions align with the Qur'anic themes of moral responsibility, the struggle against evil, and the eventual triumph of good.